Yeah, well, I'd like to say that
You missed it. But you can't tell why, I get that.
I was wondering if you were. On Tuesday, we were
Successful? No, of course not. Well, I was successful saying exactly. Sometimes that's all. That for me was a win.
I just wanted to give you a she's been
over nowhere, man.
You guys are great.
So I think.
You know, I almost put on the regular time.
They already.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we're supposed to, or where is she?
There was one today, and then.
Love them both.
You've seen stuff.
Now, do I?
Yeah, the salary board will come on the agenda.
But.
Participate where you are. Although you may want to sit up front. Adrian is going to be participating as the judge Butts on the salary board.
We have a conference call Thursday on the preliminary
It's my favorite thing, dogs and Christmas, right?
commissioners. We have a SAP call.
I'll get it later.
So Judge Butts has signed.
We just did.
Signed on
March 19th. All the couple months ago.
how about that's probably better.
Wait, that's what I said to Brady. They want another 50,000 to justify it.
Board with this and
I mean, I circulated that MOU, and Matt told me that there was
You
no
don't understand
objection.
the answer. So these SAP calls, well, this was the
Yeah. Yeah, no.
a couple months before.
Well, I'm going to go.
And we thought that this one, for this one would be. Like, we just look at each other.
It's a combination of two, how can you like, not like Christmas and dogs,
Yeah,
right?
right.
All right, and then if you would,
If I could do it for $15,000 for half an hour, oh, great. I'd make it as short as possible. Yeah, really. Because you're gonna charge me for it. Right.
He just told me, and I didn't send you an email. I'm just going to
Morning, everyone. Please stand. God of light and life, give us hope as we wait for your coming again. When we are tempted to be grateful to have found you while others are lost, send us out into the darkness in search of those who need you most. Amen.
pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order at 5 after 10. First thing we need to do is approve minutes from previous meetings. Meeting minutes, good.
I move to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. At this time, any public comment on agenda items only? Thank you. We'll move on to the action items, which we're starting with 3.0 and TDA actions.
So Roxanne,
Roxanne's not here.
okay. So we have Lauren. Approve update to the TDA report effective 12/1/2019.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is for Department of Public Safety, approving updates to the TDA report. Training and Operations Coordinator position, a pay grade 7-8, changing that to Emergency Management Specialist training, remaining a pay grade 7-8. And then also, again, Department of Public Safety, EMA, changing Energy Development Emergency Response Coordinator, which is a pay grade 8-9, changing that to Emergency Management Specialist Planning, pay grade 8-9.
Thank you. Need a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second them. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Four the personnel actions, so we'll go to 4.1. Lauren, approve HR activity report for the month of November 2019.
This is the report that summarizes all the personnel actions that we process for the month. So we're asking for your approval on that.
I move to approve 4.1 and everything listed on the agenda. 4.2, 1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we'll recess the Commissioners' meeting and convene the Salary Board.
Five point two, Lauren, approve update to the salary schedule effective 12/1/19.
The first two items are for Department of Public Safety, the Training and Operations Coordinator, pay grade 7-8, changing to Emergency Management Specialist training, pay grade 7-8. The second item, Department of Public Safety, EMA, changing Energy Development Emergency Response Coordinator, pay grade 8-9, to the Emergency Management Specialist planning, pay grade 8-9. And the third item in adult probation, the probation supervisor, a pay grade 9-10, and this refers to the memorandum of understanding.
I'd make a motion to approve 5.21 and 5.22.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve 5.2.3, adult probation supervisor.
And
You might
Is
comment
this-
that Ms. Stahl is here. on
Yeah,
behalf of
okay,
the court.
yes. So since this is a salary board item and this is a court-related item, we have Adrian Stahl here as representative of the courts. And we have a motion, and we need a second.
I'll second it then.
Thank you. Discussion, since I was not here on Tuesday, I don't know at the work session if this got any discussion or not.
It did get some discussion. Commissioner Mirabito identified the issue and the funding source for this particular salary and talked in general about the MOU and what it called for. And the MOU was later on the agenda, but I think think he explained what this was about and also how it was funded and why it was funded this way.
As it was being presented to us, and by the president and judge, and how she would fund the extra, that over and above what our salary range was, we were all in agreement with this. And here's an example, and we're gonna have to scrub our policy and our pay scale to meet the future demands of promoting from within. And one of the issues here was the person for the right job could not necessarily take it because he would have been downgraded in pay. And we have a number, probably about 4 or 5 that I see coming up into the future. So we're gonna have to try to scrub those policies to make sure that we do have the best person in the right position and stay within the guidelines of our own policy. I appreciate the courts for coming up with this alternative, and
Thank you. Any other comment? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? One up.
So you're entitled to vote too?
Aye.
You're in favor. Okay, so we have 3, 1 opposed. Thank you. Motion carries. At this time, we will adjourn the salary board and reconvene the commissioners' public meeting and go to action items, number 7.
7.1 would be Lauren again, to approve the memorandum of understanding.
This is for Mr. Fortin to be paid at a rate of $70,892.25. This figure consists of $67,604.78, which would come from the county fund, and then $3,287.47 that would come from the court's Act 35 funds.
Thank you. Need a motion.
I move to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
7.2, Maya Toon, approve agreement with William A. Cox, MD, for $25,000.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is for the Public Defender's Office to provide expert services in the area of forensic pathology and toxicology for ongoing cases that they are having. Particularly, they are now working on a case for Fallon Davis.
Thank you. Did you say Public Defender's Office?
Yes.
Thank you. Need a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
7.3, Maya Toon, agreement for bulk flare purchase with Iadaten Valley Regional Police Department, Muncie Township, and Lycoming County Sheriff's Office.
This is in an effort to help municipalities offset their costs associated with purchasing flares for their operations. It was brought to me by the Sheriff's Office, and this was a recommendation that him and I worked on. Basically what we're doing is we're entering into a bulk flare purchase as we can get it significantly cheaper than if the municipalities went and purchased them on their own. So as a result, we went to those police departments within the county and Iadaten Valley, and as well as Muncie Township had stated that they were in need of such. And just so that you're aware, Commissioner McKernan, you weren't present on Tuesday, but it was also discussed that perhaps we expand that to fire departments and also fire police. So that will be something that I consider for next year.
Thank you. Thank you. Need a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
7.4, Beth Johnston, to read the enactment of ordinance 2019-05.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
The Lycoming County Water and Sewer Authority, being a component unit of Lycoming County, is refunding their 2014 A and B bonds in order to take advantage of lower debt rates in today's market. They're requesting the county to guarantee their 2020 bond refunding as we did with the 2014 bonds. I have the whole ordinance here. I can read it. It says, consideration is requested for the enactment of an ordinance number 2019-05 as presented by special counsel to the county on behalf of the Lycoming County Water and Sewer Authority, which ordinance would authorize a guarantee of payment by the county of certain refunding bonds to be issued by the authority in order to refund and discharge its outstanding guaranteed sewer revenue bonds, A and B of 2014, and also to provide funding for certain necessary and ongoing capital improvement projects. Issuance of the refunding bonds has been proposed to the authority by its investment banker, Boning and Scattergood Incorporated, owing to its studies which show that the reduction in interest rates available are being made available to the authority in the form of additional proceeds for capital improvements. The net overall debt service obligation of the authority, and therefore of the county pursuant to the guarantee, is essentially unchanged. The board of the authority approved the refunding bonds at its meeting held on December 4, 2019, and has requested the county's guarantee of the same in order to effect the lowest possible interest costs and therefore the greatest possible financial benefit to the customers of the authority. And Christine Weigel is here from the authority.
Thank you, Beth. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
As always, we appreciate your consideration for supporting the authority on behalf of the customers of the Montoursville Regional Sewer System. We ask for your consideration of the ordinance. The authority board did take action last night for the resolution to move forward pursuant to your action. So we look forward to working with you again on the refunding, not additional borrowing, but just refunding of the 2014 Series A and B bonds.
And this is just to the benefit of the Water Authority, Lycoming County Sewer and Water Authority. You're going to save roughly $150,000 to $200,000.
The required savings is $150,000. The projected savings right now is around $160,000. And this is specific to the Montoursville Regional Sewer System of Lycoming County Water and Sewer Authority.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Okay, thank you. At this time, I need a motion.
Move to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
7.5, Chelsea Blair, change order number 1 to flood mitigation and demolition project 90 Bear Trap Lane and 1182 Pleasant Stream Road for $6,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Both of these projects are related to a flood mitigation grant, HMGP 4267. These homes need a change order due to the October 31st, 2019 flooding that had occurred up in McIntyre Township. For 90 Bear Trap Lane, more debris had washed down from up north and actually cluttered the property even more, so they do have to make more trips. For 1182 Pleasant Stream Road, what ended up happening was limited access could not be entered to demolish the property. So they actually had to build a road into the property to demolish the property.
And this was flooding that occurred this year?
Yes, actually. So McIntyre Township, in the October 31st, or around October 31st, when we had the heavy rains, a lot of the areas didn't get hit too bad, but unfortunately, up in the northern tier of our county, it did get hit. The area that I'm talking about, I call it sandblasted. I mean, there's sand, debris all over the place up there. These homes were already on our demolished list, and the contractor was working through the entire list. These were some of the last homes. Unfortunately, before he could get to the homes, they got hit again by flooding. So it just created limited access.
All right. They were on the list because a couple of years, the flooding of 2016. 16.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I see Al Boyer here. But here's another microburst where just unexpected. You get 5 inches of rain all in what? 2 hours, like that. And the creeks rose so fast and rapidly. There's nothing you can do.
Nope, there really wasn't. And so with this also, the extra funds is covered by the grant. So there really isn't anything that anybody really needs to worry about from a financial standpoint. So we do have extra wiggle room just for circumstances like this.
You want to cover the next item as well?
Sure. So change order number 2, the flood mitigation acquisition demolition project for 1950 Upper Bodines Road. Again, this is McIntyre Township. What had unfortunately happened in this area is when talking with the contractor, their original way in was from Lewis Township into McIntyre Township. Again, this is another McIntyre Township property. Their proper way in with a 15-ton bridge was going to be their access. Unfortunately, when talking to Lewis Township, the supervisor, they had stated that the 15-ton bridge actually was reduced down to a 7-ton bridge. So that required them the contractors to go down to smaller trailer size to actually take out the debris from the home and actually demolish the home that way. So it's gonna pretty much be more travel round trips. And then these are the last homes, all 3 together are the last homes on this grant.
Okay. Right. Need a motion?
I'll move to approve 7.5 and 7.6 as listed on the agenda.
Thank you. I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
7.7, Maya Toon, amendment to agreement with Port Security Partners LLC, Select Security.
Morning, Commissioners. This
Morning.
is just an amendment to the current agreement for the building security and access control project being done at the courthouse. There's 2 amendments. One, we're extending contract to December 31st to allow for that project to be completed. And that's being extended due to the fact that additional equipment had to be ordered, some backplates and power supplies.
Thank you. Need a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we're going to recess the Commissioners' meeting and convene the Board of Assessment revision.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Right.
I'm here to request approval for 2 real estate refunds. The first one is for Daniel and Linda Lapp in the amount of $270.87. This parcel was enrolled in Cleaning Green in 2018, but when the system rolled over, it didn't carry over and keep the property in Cleaning Green. The second one is for Nikki Lindstrom. Her house was damaged by fire on November 5th, 2019. The refund amount is $90.12. Do you want me to continue on to the next one?
No, just to clarify that Daniel and Linda Lapp. So it was not considered clean and green, but it should have been.
It should have been.
Okay.
Let's vote on, yeah, we'll take a motion on 8.2.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'm also here to ask you to approve a real estate exemption for Community Action Realty. This is property located at 136 Grimesville Road. This is the Round Hill School, which STEP is now using it for classrooms. And
Thank you. Yes, Community Action Realty is also known as STEP. I guess this is just their real estate arm. And we're trying to somehow somehow we missed getting the their property as exempt. So we'll take a motion on this as well. Thank you. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Brooke. This time we'll adjourn the Board of Assessment Revision, reconvene the Commissioners' meeting. And at this point, we're going to Commissioner comment.
Okay, got a couple comments. We attended a CCAT conference, and I think it's very important that the public knows what the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania does. To start out, you have 9 committees, and that we sit on. We choose which one we want to sit on. I will be chairing the Assessment and Taxation Committee next year. Jack, you sit on.
I was on the Energy, Environment, Land Use Committee the last 3 years.
And Commissioner Maravito, I believe, sits on the Committee for Human Services.
Could be.
Okay, but there are 9: Agriculture, Assessment and Taxation, Community and Economic Development, County Governance, Courts and Corrections, Election Reforms, Energy, Environmental and Land Use, Human Services, and Military and Veterans Affairs. Okay? At this conference, we set up a work plan. So each one of the committees has a work plan. What's affecting our counties most? And so we developed that work plan, and we may have 7 or 8 items on each committee. And we present those items to the board. And then the board chooses the top 5 priorities that they feel that we can get legislative action on in the coming year. So this is a very important conference because it establishes some of our priorities, and we hope that we can at least get a couple of them, you know, the legislators to pass the bills for them. The top 5 priorities here for 2020 is in behavioral health and the funding. Obviously, that's dealing with our mental health issues, which is very expensive, and trying to deal with mental health in our prison systems. That was the #1 priority. The solutions to the EMS crisis, and how are we going to tackle some of these concerns and issues, because it's a volunteer, you know, basis for the most part. Then the county tax, property tax reform. Now, we hear about Senate Bill 76 and putting on a sales tax or of 1 or 2% to help eliminate school taxes, and personal income tax going up, to try to offset the tax, especially for our seniors. But it never grows any legs, and there are a number of reasons why. But we're going to try to tackle it this year and get something changed in our legislation, because you know, it's funny. We talk about it in rural Pennsylvania. Of course, our incomes are a lot less, or medium household income are a lot less. And but in some of the bordering cities that border New York and New Jersey, they laugh at that argument. They think their property taxes are cheap in comparison to New York and New Jersey. So that's why it's really difficult to get everybody on board as far as passing this legislation. The next would be rural broadband expansion, and then the adult probation funding. Okay, so everyone is trying to deal with how our federal governments and state governments are giving us less and less money to deal with some of the issues. There was also something interesting, and I'll have to do some more research on this, but it had to do with transportation. So if you were there at the time it was presented. And this could lead to a lot of extra costs for counties. I will get more information and present that back to us here within the next couple of weeks. And that's all I have.
And although I think one of the priorities that came out of the environmental, energy, and land use had to do with stream restoration. And although it did not make one of the top 5 that the CCAP was going to concentrate on, it was on the list. And we are very grateful that it looks like Senator Yaw will be trying to get some action on that, because it is, especially in rural Pennsylvania, we need the ability to get into streams without having to go through layers of DEP and do the necessary work in the streams. I guess the only thing that I kind of thought was, questionable, the adult probation funding, we know we need it. I don't know if and I'm not sure if they were looking for an increase. My thing is, why don't they just pay what they're supposed to be paying, and because we have a hard time getting the full funding that we're supposed to get for our adult probation office. But it was a very good conference. Again, we get the opportunity to listen to, to have discussion with other 5th-class counties, and 2 of them that I spoke to, we all should be grateful that Lycoming County has been run efficiently and properly. Some of these other counties don't have they just don't have money. They don't have any funding. They don't have any extra funds. We had a meeting yesterday morning, an opportunity to hear that I think in the last year we were able to work our cash reserves to take our interest income from roughly $700,000 up close to $2 million. Yeah, over $2 million. I think our county is good stewards with the resources that we have, and although we always appear to be, we're always fighting like everybody else to save a buck, or we're in a lot better position than other counties are. But the meetings are very productive and educational in all respects. Do you have anything else?
No, other than we did talk about anything that pertains to the courts. Maybe the state should just take it over, because it is a separate branch of government. And if we don't like something that they're proposing, they can write an order. And we're kind of like stuck, So I'd love to see that happen. Instead of laying it on the taxpayers, the county taxpayers, get it all through the state.
At this time, any public comment? Did Al leave?
Al left.
Okay. It's an early Christmas present for those that are here. There's no public comment, so the next meeting will be held on Tuesday, the 10th at 10 a.m. in this room. Everybody have a good weekend.
Hey, we didn't have it live streamed.
Doing well, thank you. Try to filibuster out another 20 minutes or so.
I could have gotten up and, I could talk forever if you like.
You have to go live.
Maybe about
I know, what's going on?